Good evening, members of the St. Louis County Council. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied because it's such an honor to be here with you all to have just a short message. Thank you for all your discernment and hard work for the residents of St. Louis County. I'm a woman who was a single mother as a teenager, okay? I'm now a doula and a childbirth educator. I'm also a farmer. I just wanted to tell you all how important it is for healthy foods in our county area and how there's so many people who deserve healthy food and nutrient-based foods. I come from a veteran family, multi-generational veteran family, and despite my family members' service for the United States, we have experienced food disparity in our family line. And I'm so thankful to be a part of eradicating food disparity in District 4. And I'm with Rustic Sanctuary, working with them. And I look forward to having you all support in supporting young mothers and folks who come from veteran families like myself. Thank you.
Ms. Chambers, what's your zip code?
I'm so sorry, 63135.
All right, thank you. Next.
Next speaker is Vincent Lang, followed by Tom Sullivan.
Good evening to you all, St. Louis County Council. I'm Vincent Lang. My family and I operate Odds and Ends Farm on lands in District 4. I also stand for my colleague, Janet Lewis, Executive Director of Rustic Sanctuary, who couldn't be with us this evening. Many of you and others throughout this county government have spread the great word that the forums in District 4 are doing, and we thank you for that support. Myself, my fellow formers, and others interested in ensuring all who need food assistance do not go without came before you some time ago and asked that funds from the American Rescue Plan Act be set aside to further address food insecurity within North St. Louis County. And we thank you for doing so. Upon review of the fiscal year 2025 adopted business plan, I understand that the secondary funds of $4.6 million that were once specifically set aside for food insecurity, but not itemized at that time for a specific project, have been moved to the General Revenue Fund. Mr. Page, in your letter to the council dated 30 September 2024, you stated, "We have invested ARPA funds into value programs over the past few years. Moving remaining funds into use for general revenue will allow us to work on projects to help with food insecurity, problem properties, and infrastructure, and save on accounting costs and cost of compliance." Mr. Page, we thank you so much for your steadfast commitment to addressing food insecurity in District 4. We look forward to building a partnership with the county to craft a comprehensive plan that delivers the transformative change to food insecurity that Councilwoman Shalonda Webb dreamed of when they were first allocated, and begin taking action steps to do so. So we thank you, Councilwoman Webb, for your continued support as well. St. Louis County Council, we thank you all for your continued support in addressing food insecurity in District 4. With the recent egg shortages, the actual food recalls for listeria and things like that, it's very important that we begin to put together a comprehensive plan for food insecurity here within North St. Louis County, and a model that could then be duplicated throughout St. Louis County as a whole. We thank you for your continued support this evening, and we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you all so much.
Mr. Lang, what is your zip code?
My zip code is 63122.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Any comments from the members, announcements, anything at this particular point? Councilwoman Webb.
Thank you, Chairwoman Days. Before the announcement, I do want to acknowledge the two members of the community from the district that came forth to talk about food insecurities in District 4. As you both stated, that we've been working through this long term. I have already started working with our new council attorney to put forth legislation for us to expend the remaining $4.4 million that was dedicated or slated to support food insecurities in District 4. So we met recently, and that will be coming forth on next Tuesday. And so please make sure we share that with the collective and that whole coalition that we have legislation in the works. I see you, Mr. Eric, back there as well, so make sure we get that information to Ms. Janet.
Good evening, members of the County Council. My name is Janet Lewis, and I'm a proud resident and advocate for Spanish Lake 63138. As the founder and executive director of Rustic Root Sanctuary, I stand before you today to request your fiscal support expanding a vital community resource that is already making a measurable impact. Rustic Root Sanctuary envisions a strong local food hub, one that teaches sustainable agriculture, promotes holistic health, and provides healing opportunities for individuals and community. Our mission is to sow seeds of sovereignty, teach sustainability, and holistically heal and reconnect people to the planet. We have already demonstrated real measurable success in addressing food insecurity and health disparities in North County. We've grown and distributed over 50,000 pounds of fresh food to those in need, provided weekly or biweekly produce box to 345 seniors, increased fresh food access for over 18,000 community members, including 2,300 seniors through the Spanish Lake Farmers Market, and now which is now in its 4th year. We've hosted over 100 community events, educational programs, and wellness retreats. Why does this matter? The need for healthy, fresh food in District 4 is urgent. The county allocated $5 million in ARPA funding to create food security in District 4. Some of that funding remains unspent. I think it's 4.6 million. Funds that should be flowing into the community to fulfill their intended purpose. While that money sits in an account, farmers in District 4 have stepped up, some without county support. We have grown food, fed our neighbors, and worked tirelessly, often under-resourced. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed stark health disparities between Black and white communities, reinforcing that access to nutritious food is a public health priority. Proper nutrition can prevent disease, improve behavioral health in children, and help people function at their best. Yet despite this urgent need, our farmers are paying to farm. Many of them work second jobs just to sustain their farms, all while doing the backbreaking work of growing food in extreme heat, high winds, and rain. We have been actively working with Councilwoman Webb to scale our operations and increase food security in District 4. Thanks to our proven track record, Rustic Root Sanctuary has already secured state-level funding and a lot of private foundation support to expand. However, to fully implement this vision, we need local fiscal support and partnership. We are not just growing food, we are teaching our community to grow as well. By investing in Rustic Root Sanctuary, you are investing in a healthier—
Madam Chair, that's 3 minutes.
Shoot.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lewis, but I think we got the gist of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a win for St. Louis and our communities.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, members of St. Louis County Council. I'm Vincent Lane. My family and I farm on lands in District 4. And I'm here just stop by to remind you that farmers nationally are 2% of the population, and even less in metropolitan areas such as St. Louis County. Based on the 2017 census, there were about 10 farms that sold direct to consumers within St. Louis County. And to keep it simple, that's just a handful of farmers. To add perspective, St. Louis County population by estimates in 2023 was probably about 987,000, a little bit give or take. And so the farmers in District 4 are just a handful of farmers that are working directly to address the food needs of the security. We're not commercial farms, we're not commodity farms, we grow vegetables, fruits to feed the community, and that's our focus. And so with that, with Ms. Lewis and Rustic Root Sanctuary at the head, we have came up with some ideas that we think will help address the food insecurity in the short term as well as in the long term. And so with that, we look forward to continue building a partnership with the county to craft a more comprehensive plan to address these issues and transformative change. So we thank you for that, and thank you for your support. And to continue for Ms. Lewis left, I urge you to stand with us in this effort. When we present our 3-point plan for security, you will see that it is a solid, scalable strategy, one that will gnaw national attention. This is a win-win for the community, win-win for the forums in District 4, and overall, it's a win-win for St. Louis County. Let's not let this opportunity pass us by. Thank you all greatly for your support.
Mr. Lang, what is your zip code, please?
Zip code is 63122. My family and I form in District 4.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, I do want to acknowledge District 4 farmers. I know you've been riding with me for a long time. And when I have not been successful, nor have I gotten the help I needed from the county to bring a grocery store to our community for the last 3 years, you all have stepped up. You have delivered over 20,000 pounds of food throughout our community. When no one else was giving you the seed or the equipment that you needed that was promised, you still made it happen. And that's why I know, as I still fight to bring a grocery store, I'm not going to put all our eggs in one basket. I am going to support those who are making a way for us on their own. And so again, there will be legislation coming forth before my peers on next week. We have been working on it, and every time we get another hurdle, we work through that hurdle, but we'll be putting that before us hopefully by next week. I've been working with the council attorney to make that happen. So don't give up. Just like those ARPA funds that came out, it took 3 years to get them out. I will be persistent, let somebody say dogmatic, to make sure it happens. So we will continue to work through this. And sincerely, thank you all. I don't know if nobody else on this council knows, but thank you all, because 20,000 pounds of food is not a drop in a bucket. And the labor, the intense labor to make that happen is more than commendable. So thank you for standing in a gap when nobody else is coming to our needs. I have
Juliana Campbell speaking on add-on item number 3 from the October 22nd, 2024 meeting.
Good evening. I'm one of the farmers that you would be voting to benefit on the farming bill. And I invite you to come out and see our ghosts and play with our babies and be in an environment that is healing and not full of chemicals. Your kids can be there and harvest food. My name is Juliana Campbell. I'm the owner of Willowick Farm, St. Louis, in North County near Spanish Lake. We produce holistic grown produce, flowers, pastured meats, and raw goat's milk. A Willowick Farm STL is designed using permaculture principles. That is building systems of food security that nurture both the land and its people. Honoring the indigenous knowledge of the past, permaculture systems encourage the belief that humans have the power to regenerate the world around them. If only we stand back, observe, and seek a deeper understanding. It's a way of farming that is hopeful, and we need that. We look at around us and the world is falling apart. And this can bring that to people on a personal level. My husband and I bought our property 12 years ago, and this city-raised couple slowly began to learn food independence. My dream of farming started in a city in Tower Grove neighborhood as I was 7 years old, building farms on the Sims computer game with my best friend. It took 22 years to finally realize my dream of farming. Another 7 years before I quit my job as Rittner High School Orchestra Director to pursue regenerative farming full-time. Similar to many farmers, my family and I have made many sacrifices along the way, and they were 100% worth it. And I am excited that Willowick Farm STL is starting its 5th year of operation. We are humbled to have been invited to be part of this funding proposal, and so grateful for the sustainable farming community that we unexpectedly found right in the heart of our Spanish Lake community. We did not realize what a rich farming history was right in our town, right on our doorstep, right where my farm is right now. This funding would provide an opportunity that we could never accomplish on our own, to build a sanitary, inspected, grade A raw milk dairy. It would be the only one in North County. This building would also be an educational space, deepening our connection with the community, Together, we can strengthen the food security of North County with healing foods and holistic education. Thank you.
Ms. Campbell, what is your zip code, please?
Pardon me, 63138.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Janet Lewis, also speaking on add-on item number 3 from the October 22nd, 2024 meeting.
Yes.
Good evening, County Council. My name is Janet Lewis, 63138, and I'm the founder and the executive director of Rustic Sanctuary. I stand before you tonight to voice my strong support for the bill that will provide much needed resources to farmers working tirelessly to create food security in District 4. This bill is a crucial step in expanding the infrastructure necessary to produce, harvest, transform food into value-added products and then distribute it efficiently within our community. As someone deeply involved in local food production, I have witnessed firsthand how a strong local food movement can transform a community. When we invest in local farms and food hubs, we are not just supporting farmers, we are ensuring that fresh, nutritious food reaches the tables of the families who need it the most. Food security is about more than just access to food. It is about access to healthy, locally grown food that nourishes bodies and minds. Studies consistently show that communities with strong local food systems experience better health outcomes, lower rates of diet-related illnesses, and increased economic stability. When we strengthen local food networks, we reduce dependency on long, fragile supply chains and keep food dollars circulating within the local economy. At Rustic Root Sanctuary, we see every day how fresh, locally grown food changes lives. When people have access to healthy, affordable food options, we see lower rates of diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. We see stronger families, stronger economies, and a stronger sense of community. By passing this legislation, you are making an investment in public health, economic resilience, food justice, and you are empowering farmers who are already on the front lines of food security, ensuring that their work has a sustainable impact. I urge you to support this critical legislation. Let's build a future where everyone, regardless of income or zip code, has access to fresh foods. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Irene Lewis, speaking on add-on item number 3 from the October 22nd, 2024 meeting.
Good evening, council members. My name is Tyrann Lewis. I'm the owner of Hayward Urban Farming, located in District 4 of North County. I am a 5th generational farmer. I'm a proud resident of 63033, and my farm location is 63031, and deeply committed to addressing food insecurity in our community. Hayward Urban Farming is more than just a provider of fresh local produce. We are actively engaged with our community by partnering with Riverview Gardens School District and Hazelwood School District to educate and nourish our youth. Additionally, through our collaboration with STL Youth Jobs, we provide employment opportunities that empower young people with valuable skills and experience. Today, I first want to extend my gratitude to Councilwoman Shalonda Webb for her unwavering advocacy to fight for food security in District 4 and throughout the St. Louis region. Her leadership has been instrumental in advancing the critical issue. However, there is still much work to be done. Food insecurity remains a persistent challenge for many families in our district, and sustainable community-driven solutions require financial investment. That is why I stand before you today to request the fiscal support for our comprehensive 3-point plan to combat food insecurity in District 4. With your approval and funding, we can expand our reach, increase access to fresh and nutritious food, and create long-term solutions that empower our residents. I urge the council to stand with us in the fight and support our plan, ensuring that no family in District 4 has to wonder where their next meal will come from. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Next speaker?
Good evening to y'all. I am Vincent Lane, 63122, and my family and I operate odds and ends farm on lands in District 4, between Riverview and Spanish Lake. We've worked with Ms. Lewis and the Rustic Root Sanctuary team as a lead and have a plan that outlines a practical renovation to restore a once forgotten property into a locally grown grocery store and establishes a food hub inclusive of vegetable processing center with cold storage. The plan also includes long-term production for capacity building for 5 farms already doing the work to address food insecurity. And and constructs an agri-village for training the next generation of farmers, allowing the impact of the efforts of today to continue into the future. With fiscal stewardship as a focus, these actions include a single organization as a contact to help with St. Louis County save money on any accounting and compliance fees that may be incurred. In between the time since the ARPA funds were first distributed to the county, and now we have seen chain grocery stores open and close. And we know that no more tax incentives to another chain grocer does not offer a stable solution to food insecurity anywhere in North County, as it seems as though their overhead costs are outweighing their revenues and making it hard to keep their doors open to service the residents. Today, we ask that the county not continue funding those of corporate interests, but choose to invest in those of us with proven community interests. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Bill number 54, introduced by Councilmember Webb, an ordinance appropriating funds in the amount of $3,200,000 from the unappropriated balance of the General Revenue Fund to Rustic Roots Sanctuary for support of programs, services, and projects designed to provide long-term solutions to food insecurity in St. Louis County Council District 4 pursuant to 29,169 St. Louis County Revised Ordinances.
Chairwoman Days, thank you for this grace, but I have to address Tom Sullivan because there's a narrative as if all of a sudden we handed out money all willy-nilly. Those ARPA funds were appropriated in 2022 from feedback from the communities of what was needed to serve them after COVID. They said we need grocery stores and we need food insecurities. So since 2022, I have been trying to get a grocery store on my own and working with the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership and working with others. And still in 2025, I have no grocery store in District 4. Off of 367, where 2 grocery stores are closed, and now 2 other food markets, a meat market and Steel Mackey, who's been there forever, are considering closing their doors. And so I have to invest in our community where they want to fix their own problem. They want to bring good food choices to our community. And so my food insecurities are the remaining funds from the $4.4 million originally appropriated in 2022. So this is not last minute, Mr. Tom Sullivan. This has been going on for 3 years. Those funds to help those farmers that's in District 4 where the money was appropriated to are standing up and fixing the problem themselves because we can no longer wait on someone else to save our community. We have tried to play in the sandbox with the rules of engagement that has been given to us, and it has not prevailed. So now we must depend on our own wit. Rustic Roots is a proven, credible food source for District 4, and we will work with them and those who work with them to scale their services and provide more food for our communities. And Ms. Councilwoman Days, again, thank you for all of that extended grace, and I appreciate you all for listening.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paula Harlemert and I'm from Florissant, Missouri. My zip code is 63033. I'm also speaking for a friend of mine who lives in University City. Her name is Wendy L. Katz, and I don't know what her zip code is, but she's from University City. Okay, and as I said, my name is Paula Harlemert. I live in Florissant, and I'm here in support of the council awarding ARPA funds to the Rustic Roots Sanctuary. I have an autoimmune disease, and it's important that I watch what I eat to keep it under control. As a part of my diet, I've been purchasing goat dairy products, eggs, and fresh produce from Willowick Farms for the past 3 years. As they say, we are what we eat, and I believe that consuming products that have been raised or grown using sustainable farming practices is an important part of keeping myself healthy, and that having this type of food available will contribute to the health of others in the North County area. I also have a letter from my friend Wendy Katz, who is also benefiting from these products produced at Willowick Farm. And for the record, this letter is for the St. Louis City Council, St. Louis County panel hearing in support of several farms and farmers that are Rustic Roots Sanctuary of District 4. They're applying for funds through ARPA. Over the decades, farming has diminished in much of St. Louis County. Yet, before you are these dedicated stewards of part of these lands who are bringing agriculture back to life. Their track record is established, as is their integrity. Applying to you for these needed funds, once awarded, will help them grow their dreams and fulfill their intention as a nutritional force to reduce the food desert in some communities around them. This cause is a noble one. It's a very labor-intensive one. This money will help with manifesting their stated purposes in their budget for residencies and mentoring, thereby establishing opportunities for young and ambitious talent, for better storage facilities, for having their own locations for sale of their abundance. As Wendell Berry wrote in The Gift of the Good Land, the human life of place and the life of its soil and its plants and animals revolve together. The life of its place comes in as food, returns as fertility, comes as energy, and returns as care. As a recipient of produce, milk goat, and goat milk products, as well as eggs from Willowwick Farm for the past 2 years, I know that best practices in sustainability are maintained. May they be rewarded for their manifestations of abundance and the high quality of their labor entwined with research. Please award these very dedicated—
Mr. Vice Chair, that's 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Gail Mills.
We're all friends here.
Okay, my name is Gail Mills. I live in Maplewood, 63143. I'm also a registered nurse. Sorry. I'm very excited about the Rustic Roots Sanctuary, Willowwick Farms, and the other farms in the 4th District. My daughter is the owner of Willowwick Farms, and it is such a wonderful, wonderful thing that they're all doing to reach out to the community, to care about the life of the people there. My husband and I hope to live in that area. We hope to move there. I myself have a vision of hoping to go to the different people that are interested and maybe starting little farms or putting little gardens in their homes, you know, and helping people to grow their own food, but to have the market, you know, that they're hoping to open. You know, people will be able to have good food, because I'm a nurse and I have seen what this has done to people. Bad food, you know, people, you know, gaining weight, getting autoimmune diseases, all these things are happening to people. And people are being healed by food. They can be healed by food and by the love of their neighbor. Anyway, I'm emotional. That's the way it goes. So I hope that you will support these farmers. It's such a big thing. You know, my husband and I went around the area and we looked at Willowwick Farms. You know, of course we've been there, but Rustic Roots, and it's like it's such a beautiful vision of continuing that. You know, I saw some open land and I thought, oh, we can get in there and make another plot, you know, make another one. And so I really hope that you will pass this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Jeff Adams.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Adams from Alton, Illinois, zip code 62002. I'm the farm manager at Theodora Farms, which is located in Godfrey, Illinois. And although I am not a constituent of yours, I'm here to give my support for this bill to invest in farmers and food production within your jurisdiction. I encourage you to consider not only the needs of the citizens of your county, but to think of our regional food system as a whole. The St. Louis Food Shed which extends into the Metro East and bordering counties outside of St. Louis, is lagging far behind other regions across the country. Vegetables are brought in from other regions, most from California, and an increasing amount from outside the United States. This lack of local food production exposes our region and the citizens of St. Louis County to increased risks of food and nutrition insecurity, foodborne illness, and rising costs. This global supply chain is unsustainable, inefficient, and costly. I believe that the level of emphasis a community places on its food sovereignty is a direct reflection of the health and strength of that community. There are many exceptional farmers in our food shed, to include these growers in your districts. Our combined production capacity is far below what is needed to feed our region. This bill will directly support the expansion of production capacity in the region and further build strength and resilience in the communities you serve. County council members, you have an incredible opportunity to be leaders through policy, to make a direct investment in the strength and vitality of our region, and I humbly request that you pass this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Jasmine Pirtle.
My name is Jasmine Pirtle, and I am 23 years old, having lived in the 63138 area almost my whole life. I'm here to express my support for District 4 farmers, especially Rustic Roots Sanctuary. Rustic Roots has been the first place where I could show up in the skin I'm in, without credentials, experience, formal education, or significant connections, and still be offered a seat at the table. I was one of 10 Black and Brown apprentices in Rustic Roots' 6-month farming program called From Dreaming to Implementation, where I learned beekeeping, basic animal care, hands-on tractor training, agricultural business planning, and how to turn harvestables into meals and value-added products. Most importantly, I learned sustainable farming techniques for starting and managing a small farm or garden. This program provided not only education, but employment and networking opportunities, both within Rustic Roots and among 3 other District 4 farmers. Rustic Roots has been the backbone of my farming journey, providing me with knowledge, skills, and valuable connections. Before graduating from the program, they brought me on as an employee. My work with Rustic Roots is the most fulfilling work I've ever had, and it equips me with real-life skills that are essential in today's world. A few weeks ago, my connection with Rustic Roots became even more personal when I learned their community garden space was established in response to the 2018 grocery store closures in Spanish Lake. These closures not only cut off my family's access to food, but also resulted in my own unemployment at Shop and Save. Rustic Roots has not only stood in the gap of food insecurity for me, but they've also stood in the gap of my former unemployment all these years later. I still remember being told, just go grocery shopping at the Snooks on Bell Fountain and see if they hiring while you're at it, when I used to be within walking distance of both my job and a local market. The reality is shopping at Snooks is a less than stellar experience. It's nowhere near the level of service or quality found in neighborhoods like Clayton or Shaw. In District 4, the prices are just as high, but the food quality is poor and many items are out of stock or plainly unavailable in the area. Truth is, I shouldn't have to travel 30 minutes into town to access basic food items and have a decent shopping experience at an identical grocery chain. These experiences often push young people like myself out of the neighborhood because there's quote unquote nothing here. This is where I've lived my whole life, and I refuse to be uprooted on account of food insecurity. Just as Rustic Roots has stood in the gap for me, I stand with them to help them rebuild our district. Why leave and join already thriving communities when District 4 farmers need help revitalizing the one that is right before our eyes? Therefore, I stand by Rustic Roots and advocate for the legislation that supports all District 4 farmers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Nancy Conniff.
Good afternoon. I'm Nancy Conniff, and my zip code is 63034. I also am here for the same thing all these other people have been here for. Just learned about Rustic Roots. I didn't even know that existed. I have been going to Willowwick Farm for goat milk, eggs. They have pork, they have organic food, it's sustainably raised, it's clean, it's healthy. I have health issues where I literally can't have things like, now I can't think of what I can't have, and I wrote it down. It's the preservatives and all the things that they spray on the crops, the glyphosate, and which is banned in so many countries. And yet, most of our food in regular grocery stores has that. it's literally toxic for me. I need clean food. Everybody needs clean food. And this is a resource that is just absolutely phenomenal because it's healthy, it's beautiful, it's clean, it tastes good. I mean, they need the support. They really need the support. We need to encourage that type of food production rather than the giant farms. Small businesses, we need that. We've got a food desert. We've got to take care of that in North County. It's a beautiful place to live, and those are beautiful farms to go to. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Theodore Mills.
Hi, Honorable Council members. My name is Theodore Mills, and I live in Maplewood, 63143. And I made my living as a medical researcher, and worked at Jewish Hospital. And food should be your medicine, and if that was placed first, so that's very important. And also the food insecurity. I mean, I got 3 grocery stores that I walked to. Okay, they had to drive all the way on the highway. One of the reasons for that is that businesses don't want to locate in there because of the low income. So how do you solve this problem? I looked at this and I go, boy, they're sitting on an absolute gold mine here. They got this land. And there's a movement in the United States. It's been going on for a certain number of years, and it's called urban agriculture. And one of the proponents, these people here are your new pioneers. The Curtis Stone is one you can look up on YouTube if you don't know him. He'll show you that you can take 1 acre, and out of that 1 acre, you can produce $100,000 worth of food, okay? 50% of that, $50,000 is profit. So what does that do to this low-income area? If you pass legislation that says that people can do this and follow their program to have this market hub, these people in the neighborhood are going to be benefiting $50,000. I mean, some of these houses in that area are only $150,000. It means that they pay for their house in 3 years. Then what happens after that is that they have disposable income. Things start building off of this. So, I mean, one of the things that I would do in the areas, I would pass legislation that says, don't start subdividing this stuff into little bitty tiny house lots, make them 1 acre or above. And so that people can participate in this program, grow their food, bring it to the hub. She's got a great plan. And I arrived at this actually not knowing her plan. And I was watching a video that you had about you don't want the county to be an eyesore, but there's hope in the future. This is it. I think this is really it. I think that it will lift everybody up. And if you have any doubts, look at the Great Seal up there. It's actually a moldboard plow invented by Thomas Jefferson. Yeah. So the movement is in the United States. It's this micro farming, and you have the desire of the young people to do it.
Mr. Vice Chair, that's 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Vincent Lang, followed by Juliana Campbell.
63122 is my zip code. My name is Vincent Lang. My family and I operate Odds and Ends Farm on lands in St. Louis County, District 4. Many times I find myself answering the question, why farmers and ranchers are important. A question that could be easy for one to answer on their own. But there's been a great disconnect between what we consume as food and the immense effort it takes to produce all that we eat. An effort so great that since 1920s, farmland and labor within the U.S. have been on the decline, sliding from near 30% of the population involved in farming to less than 2% today. A decline so steep that many people believe food simply comes from the grocery store, as many people have never met a local farmer or rancher. If someone that is disconnected from agriculture crosses your path, I encourage you to please let them know that food products do not originate at the grocery store. They originate at the farm. They originate from the lands that are carefully stewarded by the hands of farm operators, farm managers, field assistants, farm laborers, and many others who have chosen agriculture as a lifestyle. And we need more people willing to roll up their sleeves to farm in St. Louis County. As a society, we may not agree on all the many solutions to the problems that we face, but I believe we can agree that it's more practical to produce as much food as we can on available lands within our community than it is to import from across the country or from out of the country, especially in a crisis situation. This legislation restores security and food security to our community in a way that gives District 4 a guide to sufficiency during the next global health event by building capacity of the existing farms doing the work. As farming is part of our legacy, let being part of passing legislation that is transformative for sustainable farmers in District 4 be a part of your legacy. We thank the council for its continued support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Juliana Campbell, followed by Tom Sullivan.
I'm Juliana Campbell. I live in 63138. I am the owner of Willowick Farm. And I want to talk very briefly about why goat's milk. We're talking about food insecurity, but let's talk about babies. Let's talk about formula. Pasteurized goat's milk, not cow's milk, is the universal milk. It can raise any mammal to adulthood. It has all the nutrients necessary to support us. So if you pasteurize goat's milk, it can take the place of formula in an emergency situation. Or say the mother doesn't produce enough milk, or has an accident, or has an illness. They can supplement with pasteurized goat's milk in a way that cow's milk cannot. It is homogenized, it has a different protein structure, and it is more easily digestible for all of the human babies that react to cow's milk. My dad was one of those babies that would have benefited from this situation. I also want to speak to you in support of Janet from Rustic Roots. We have been working together for 2 years now, and she has been dedicated to food insecurity. She's also has a high level of integrity. So if you entrust her with these funds, she is going to make sure that the things happen with them that need to happen. All right, and we're all here, all the farmers want you to come out and see what is happening with those funds. We don't want you to hand over a check and just disappear. All right, we want you to be part of this process just as much as the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Tom Sullivan, followed by Janet Lewis.
Thank you for listening to my comments. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Janet Lewis.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Janet Lewis, 63138. We launched Rose Spanish Lake Community Garden in 2019 as a direct response to the Shop and Save closure on the 367 and Parker, leaving Spanish Lake what you would call a food desert. We call it food apartheid. At that time, I was volunteering on the board of the Spanish Lake CDC, and eventually I took Lottie Wade's position as the chair of the CDC for 2 years while simultaneously building and launching Rustic Root Sanctuary. When we got our 501c3 designation in January of 2020, we had no idea that 2 months later, COVID-19 would change the world as we knew it, moving every meeting to Zoom and most humans with pre-existing conditions fighting for their lives. We knew we had to act, and the way we showed up was to provide nutritious food to our community. Have you ever heard the saying, teach a man to fish? Well, we believe in teaching a woman and a man to farm. We know that building a strong local food system is the answer to combating disruptions, escalating prices, and other issues with the standard food supply chain. Our programming has included beekeeping mentorships, BIPOC farmer dreaming to implementation programs, the Spanish Lake Farmers Market, senior programs, educational farm tours, herbal medicine, and foraging classes, teaching people to farm, celebrations around the seasons, and holistic health classes. When we started, we had to self-fund for 2 years. If I didn't have land or funding, we wouldn't have a farm today. Rustic Root Sanctuary wouldn't exist. That's why resourcing farmers that are currently feeding their communities is so important. It's hard to get started up and running. They need their work to be lifted up and funded successfully long-term. I know this is just a one-time shot in the arm, as I've been told, but I'm hoping that we can start really collaborating to build a strong local food movement, which will get national attention. Our 3-point plan includes capacity building support for District 4 farmers, an agri-village that can become a national model in grower education, and a harvest hub that allows several farmers to access cold storage and much needed equipment to create value-added products and scale their businesses. At Rustic Root Sanctuary, we are not just growing food, we are cultivating mentorship, collaboration, connection, and hope. We are creating a space where people can be seen, valued, and empowered while also ensuring our community has the resources they need to thrive. That's what drives our mission, to provide nourishment not just for the body, but for the heart, mind, and spirit while building a sustainable local food system that truly supports the people it serves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Jay Pines Jankos.
Hey y'all, good afternoon. My name is Jay Pires Jankosi. My zip code is 63105. I'm a District 5 resident of St. Louis County, and I'm here also to speak in support of Rustic Root Sanctuary and the efforts of sustainable farmers in District 4. I'm speaking in support of this bill because I've seen firsthand that farmers are land and community healers. When you grow food, you not only grow the food itself, but you also grow human and non-human community around that food. That means teaching others to grow nutritious produce, strengthening soil health, creating habitat for native birds, animals, and insects, all of which is undeniably interconnected with the health and resilience of our human communities too. During the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw the repercussions of delocalized food systems with our national and international food systems completely falling apart under trade and supply chain pressures. In contrast, it's been shown that local food systems are much more resilient and adaptable to sudden changes, due in part to the fact that farmers who are growing food in community and for community are much more attuned to meeting our local needs, including any kind of sudden changes that might occur. So knowing that COVID-19 pandemic is not the first, nor will it be the last stressor on our food system, the St. Louis County representatives, y'all would be very wise to invest in the well-being and infrastructure of sustainable farmers in District 4 who are doing the work of creating long-term food security in North County and who have the immense expertise to share their skills in supporting farmers in other districts who are hoping to do the same. I've also seen firsthand the role that Rustic Roots plays in the St. Louis community. Rustic Roots thinks about health holistically, offering many of the things that Janet just mentioned, from providing fresh produce to teaching folks how to grow their own food, how to work with herbal medicine, hosting skill shares, and generally providing a joyful environment for folks to gather. Their proposal, created in partnership with Hiru, Willowick, Odds and Ends, Coahoma Orchards, and Confluence Farms, speaks to the deep level of community care and expertise that each of these farms represents. Thank you for your time. I definitely just want to emphasize that an investment in local sustainable farmers is an investment in the long-term health and resilience of our St. Louis human and non-human communities. So I urge you to vote yes on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Ray Miller.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ray Miller. My zip code is 63116. Thanks for hearing me today. Get my notes. I'm with the Gateway Sustainable Farmers Alliance. We're a new 501c3 nonprofit here in St. Louis. We're farmer-led, and we manage Known and Grown STL, which is a program of about 70 sustainable farmers here in Missouri and Illinois that are ranchers, vegetable growers, herbs, mushrooms, honey. The 6 farmers in this project are all part of our Known and Grown program. Let's see. I have worked as a farmer and on behalf of farmers here in the St. Louis local food system for 10 years. And I can attest to the importance of projects just like this one. I'm in support of Bill 54 because funding sustainable local agriculture is funding local economy and our local community. This bill would uplift entrepreneurs in the community, improve the health of our community, by increasing access to nutritious food, and it would support equity by breaking down barriers to both food production and food access. By passing this bill, St. Louis County would be upholding values of health, equity, resilience, and community. Further, Rustic Roots Sanctuary and the accompanying 5 farms are led and staffed by accomplished teams with a proven track record of taking action. When they set out to do something, they do it, and they do it well. My last point is, as a gentleman pointed out earlier behind you, Missouri is an ag state, and it's been on the decline for many years. This type of work is the future of Missouri ag. So voting in favor of this bill is supporting the future of Missouri as an ag state. That's all I have.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Our final speaker is Rachel Levi.
Hello, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Rachel Levy. I'm a St. Louis City resident, zip code 63119. And although I'm currently a city resident, I grew up in Ferguson, spent my childhood and all the way through young adulthood in North County. And I know these communities to be places where so much has been overlooked and so much investment has been pulled away since Michael Brown, and even before that. I believe that St. Louis County, North St. Louis County, has been known for its pain. And the residents of North St. Louis County want to be known for their healing. And I believe that this bill in support of Rustic Roots and the District 4 farmers would be a tremendous investment in that healing. I work in the organic farming, I can't even say industry because we're smaller than that. I work in the organic farming movement for an educational farm called Earth Dance in Ferguson. And I have seen with my own eyes how much healing comes about in these spaces. The land, the ecosystems, the people who get their hands in the soil and who share what they grow with their neighbors. It is all a form of healing. And so what I really hope is that the members of this council, before they make a vote on this bill, will go out and visit the farms in question if you have not already. Because I believe that when you are there and you experience the integrity of what these people are doing and experience the ecosystems that they are storing, you will want more people to have that experience. An investment on this scale will bring attention to the work that they are doing and help to rewrite that story that the greater St. Louis area and that truly the nation and the entire global community since #Ferguson have about North St. Louis County, that it is a place of pain rather than a place of strength and inspiration. Help rewrite that story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bill number 54, introduced by Councilmember Webb.
I move to perfect Bill number 54.
Bill number 54 is held.
No, I want to perfect it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a miswrite.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Bill number 54 is perfected.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Hancock. So I need to take this moment to first thank all of those who came from District 4 to support legislation to address our food insecurities. I need to make this clear. I have been working since I took was elected to serve in this position, how to get grocery stores back in our community. I have reached out, I have called, I've had meetings, and nothing has come to fruition. And now the district and their community members have decided to fix this on their own. And so I commend you all for all of the effort, for the organization, for the commitment and your integrity to say that we will not depend on others. We will do the work ourselves. And if this council, if this county can partner with you to ensure that our food insecurities are addressed, then I'm all for it. So thank you all for taking the time to be here and share your personal stories.
Talk about when the folks from the farms were talking, I grew up on a small farm in St. Charles County. And we raised our own vegetables. We raised chickens. As my wife has told me several times she'd like to raise chickens at some point. I told her the only reason she wants to do that is because she's never done it. But one of my fondest childhood memories, and this is going to sound strange, I know, is sitting in my mother's garden where she grew all the vegetables that we ate in the house, and just sitting there next to a pea plant and just picking the fresh peas right off the vine and sticking them in my mouth. With the possible exception of watermelon on a hot day, that's probably the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. There's nothing like it. I would encourage anyone who has the opportunity to do that, to go visit these folks and see what they do. And I think you come away with a much greater appreciation of where your food comes from. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.